Cheers to boredom. Are you finding yourself getting bored? I've had to change up my routine a little bit. I haven't gone to the gym yet, but today I did do some meditation, which I haven't done for a long time. Drinking tea. What are you drinking tonight? Today? This morning? Write it in the comments. Video 18. Albert Einstein. Boredom leads to creativity. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Boredom leads to creativity. I heard someone say, I don't know who it was, but the kids, children, teens these days are not given the gift of boredom. They've got so much stuff, devices, entertainment, Netflix, it's all there. Us, if you're the same age as me, if we missed a TV show, it's gone. If you're not watching it on the time it comes out, on the day it comes out, then you miss it forever. These days, so many options. You get to choose when to watch things. But the gift of boredom, that's the reason why I started playing guitar. And I think the reason why there's not as many bands these days is because the kids are not, teens are not given the gift of boredom, so they don't jam together with their friends. Maybe. Just thinking. Who knows? I'll get back to reading. Glad you're with me. I'm feeling better today. And yeah, I think now that it's gone for this long, I'm over the halfway mark. I think I'm gonna do it. Well, that's what I feel like tonight. There's the bottle shop is open. I could go, but I won't. I've started going to bed early and waking up early, so that's a new thing I'm doing. This morning I read, and I enjoyed reading in the morning, and that could be a new thing that I do. I do enjoy reading, so the drinking and movies tend to be the thing I normally do on a day off, but reading and just being with myself, it's interesting. And let's see what she says, Annie, from the Alcohol Experiment, about combating the boredom. If drinking used to be a major activity for you, this experiment might leave you with more time on your hands than you thought it would. That is a great thing. You might feel a bit bored, so let's explore that emotion today, going into the boredom. I cleaned out one of my closets today, which I've been meaning to do for a long time. So I'm doing more of those stupid menial tasks, which is interesting. Boredom is one of the top reasons that people go back to drinking. It's important to get a handle on this uncomfortable emotion that we're feeling, so it won't undermine this experiment that we're doing. Boredom can be a loaded topic, especially when it involves other people. There's a lot of implied guilt and blame involved, as you'll soon discover. We're going to delve into blame and guilt around boredom. Interesting. The common belief among regular drinkers is that alcohol relieves their boredom and makes boring people easier to tolerate. So if you're hanging out with a bunch of boring people, yeah, hang out with my friend. Alcohol. We learned about that last video. The common belief, but when you get right down to it, what is boredom? What is boredom? We might define it as a disinterest in the world around us, or even in our own thoughts. It's like saying our lives are not enough for us, that being alive is not enough. We need something else. The concept of boredom is nothing new. References to it appear in ancient Pompeii as early as the 1st century AD. I imagine it probably has been around since humans first existed. The cavemen trying to make fire with their sticks. Maybe that's what... No, I'll stop rambling. Boredom is an incredible, uncomfortable state for many people. Scientists studied this by putting people in a room for 15 minutes to be alone with their thoughts. Just 15 minutes. The only other item in the room was a device they could push to give themselves an electric shock. I'm so bored. 80% of the people decided to shock themselves and cause pain rather than sit and be bored. Only 15 minutes. One person actually shocked himself 180 times. 180 times in 15 minutes. We brush boredom off as this trivial thing that we should be able to simply snap out of, but researchers are finding that it's not trivial at all. No. And there are some fascinating connections between boredom and addiction to substances like alcohol, not tea. When we're young, we're taught to feel guilty about being bored. I remember my dad, Annie says, telling her that boredom doesn't exist and it was all in my head. In school, children are often told to stop complaining or that they're weak-willed and unimaginative if they're bored. When I was young, I used to just play with a stick. You must have been the coolest kid in the block, Dad, if you had a stick. Some parents say, only boring people get bored. Or, if you're bored, I'll give you something to do. Of course, that would be the chores, some unpleasant task. And over time, we learn to be ashamed of this state of boredom. So we have this feeling that we don't know what to do about. We don't know what to do about it. And our parents, teachers, and other authority figures tell us we shouldn't be feeling it. That sets us up for classic cognitive dissonance, the old brain box. Not sure what belief we should grasp onto. We feel bad or embarrassed that we're bored, so we seek out ways to change our state of mind. Some people eat. Some people mindlessly scan the doom-scrolling social media. And many of us reach for a drink. That was me. For a short time, alcohol numbs the boredom and guilt we feel about being bored in the first place. Back in 1986, psychologists at the University of Oregon developed a test to study boredom. It's called the boredom proneness scale, and you can actually take it online. Just do the online boredom proneness scale. It's not surprising that people who are easily bored are more prone to addiction. Teenagers who report being easily bored are 50% more likely to try drinking, illegal drugs, or smoking, just out of boredom. Think back for a moment. Have you always been prone to boredom? I sometimes enjoy boredom. Well, like I said, I like to do meditation. That's a new thing for me. That's celebrating boredom. Meditation is just gloating that you did nothing for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. Or do you have creative activities to engage in? What were they? What did you like to do when you were a child? Maybe we can pull out some of those things. I am playing the guitar and bass more often now. How did you handle boredom before you started drinking? It's important to understand that boredom isn't always a bad thing. Annie says she read a study where doctors put participants inside an MRI machine. When they reported feeling bored, there was a 5% drop in their overall brain activity, but there were huge increases in activity in certain areas. Specifically the parts of the brain that recall autobiographical facts. This probably still said that wrong, but you know what I'm trying to say. The part that seeks self-knowledge, and the creative sensor where hypothetical situations are invented. So the recalling of memories, as well as making up hypothetical creative circumstances, they were heightened. All those creative parts of the brain were much more active, even though the overall activity was lower. That is interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Boredom may well be responsible for all the great works of art and literature, your favorite movies and technology. Albert Einstein was a notorious bored person. Oh yeah, Albert, he was bored, so he went off and made up these hypothetical maths equations and became really smart. Legend has it that his famous theory of relativity came about when he was particularly bored in an algebra class and was imagining that he could escape by being faster than a beam of light. He was using his creative side. I would not expect that. What amazing things do you have inside you that are waiting to be shared to the world? Moving into our creative, what is possible. And if we're not in boredom, then the other part of the brain would be active, but letting it down causes these creative stuff to come up. I wouldn't mind trying to write poetry. I dabble with it, but maybe it will help. Hopefully. Some people believe that true bliss and contentment actually happen on the other side of boredom. So pushing through. I guess that's what meditation is. When I do meditate, I do feel more creative, and I get a slight euphoric feeling. And pushing through that is that going into woo-woo enlightenment, pushing through boredom. Maybe. They believe that boredom is a sublime emotion, something to be savored and appreciated. Sitting in the boredom. In fact, researchers are urging parents not to fill their kids' summer schedules with activity. They suggest setting kids up in situations where they will be bored in order to foster their ability to be still in their emotions. That is a very valuable skill. If you're being in circumstances where you can just be in the emotions and not let the emotions cause you to run amok. Children need to develop the ability to pay attention to the little things that bring lasting joy, not the fleeting joy. It's a skill we're robbing our children of by providing constant, on-demand entertainment. Of course, beyond a certain point, boredom becomes unhealthy. Okay, balance. Studies show that when people, and animals apparently, are bored for too long, they can actually go insane. Is that like when they put the people in jail in solitary confinement? I was in a jail cell in Hobart and got him to lock me in. It was dark. I was only in there for like 10 seconds and I was wanting to get out. Solitary confinement. It'd go crazy. When you're drunk, you are capable of feeling boredom. You aren't capable when you're drunk to feel boredom because you've numbed your senses and emotions. Boredom is your brain telling you it needs to be stimulated. Quick, give me something to do. So think of some ways to do that. Keep our brain stimulated or sit in the boredom for 15 minutes. Not however long. I practice boredom with my meditation. I'm glad I'm getting back into it. I find it good. My favorite ways to relieve boredom involve activities where I'm striving to reach a goal. Since my husband and I started Taekwondo, we're always working to improve those skills and move from white belt through the colored belts. Eventually, they hope to get the black belt. Woo! Sustained growth and achievements is built right in. You get that sense of achievement. Yeah. Happiness is often found in areas of growth. That's why I enjoyed reading this morning, because I was learning a bit. Maybe you want to write a novel and you can check off the chapters as they are completed. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. You get it. Even something as simple as walking can give you a sense of achievement. Increasing the amount of steps you do each day. Try a GPS app to track your daily miles as you walk, the distance it would take to make it to Rome or some place that you want to go. Or I was talking to my brother, we're talking about going to Uluru as Rock, which is that big rock in the middle of Australia. And I was encouraging him to get his walking going. He goes, I could walk around that. And I said, it's about 12 Ks all the way around. And he was like, I could do that. And then I mapped it out. I said, that's walking from here to there and back. He's like, the rock is bigger than you think, isn't it? So if me and him go off and do that. So I gave him the challenge of he has to do 12K walks. What's somewhere you want to go? She's mentioning Rome. We're off to Rome, apparently. Celebrate with a big Italian dinner party when you reach virtual Rome. So I think she's talking about whatever the distance is from you to Rome, and when you hit that amount of Ks over months, then you get to have a big party a Rome Italian party. When you're drunk, everything feels the same. Whether you're eating a nice dinner, you're at a concert, you're home watching Netflix, it's the same numb, fuzzy feeling. So you're having that same alcohol drunk feeling through all your events. Even if you got to see classical music or heavy metal, you're feeling the same. Every single experience you have feels exactly the same. After I gave up drinking, I saw that life has so much variety to offer, and we need all our senses intact in order to experience it. When we take the time to appreciate it, life without alcohol is the opposite of boring. But we'll have to get used to doing some different activities. And I will find when I watch a movie that I will enjoy it. And it will take me more of an emotional journey rather than just the alcohol numb. So I will enjoy my movies better. And what about the belief that drinking makes other people more interesting? Let's find out. My answer to that is to ask why you're with those people in the first place. Choosing who we're hanging out with is very powerful. I certainly understand needing to be at a business or networking function when you don't want to be. And I did my fair share of drinking to deal with people I had no interest in. But when I did that, I robbed myself of the ability to form true connections with people who might be worth getting to know if I gave them a chance, and someone to build a connection with that might help in business areas, I reckon. When you drink to make someone else more interesting, you're the one getting cheated. You're poisoning yourself just so you can be around someone you don't want to be around in the first place. I've found that if I pay attention, I can usually find something worth knowing about someone. It's a bit of a game. Someone's got an interest. There's always something someone likes talking about. Can you find it? It's the game. And if you really can't stand someone, I can politely excuse myself and go find someone else to talk to. If you're drinking water or something, finish it. And they go, oh, I'm just going to get another drink, and leave the conversation. Or set it up that you need to leave. Oh, it's great talking. I'll need to be going in about 10 minutes. And then if it's a good conversation, note that you will talk to them longer next time. But if you're unsure, set it up that I've only got 10 minutes. So then it's like, oh, like I said, only 10 minutes. We'll catch up next time. But really, you won't. I don't need a drink to do that. Yeah, we don't need to be drinking to do that. So, what do you think? What do we think? Well, it's true that alcohol does temporarily relieve boredom by slowing down your brain. It also numbs your ability to express and appreciate the things that actually bring you joy. We're numbing those joy feelings. Given what you now know about the creative centers in your brain lighting up during periods of boredom, are you more likely to put up with those uncomfortable emotions to see what's on the other side? A lot of painters, and writers use past experiences and these feelings to create their art. So when we're bored, sitting in these emotions, and I guess it's giving you a chance to process things. And that's the reason why I drink. Sometimes is to push that stuff down. So healthy, but be strategic. Do it for 5. Have it something that you can do if it gets too uncomfortable. Next time, 10 minutes, sit in that boredom, see what emotions come up. See if you can push through that boredom and the emotions, and these creative side of you might start popping up. And what do you start daydreaming about? Some old things that you used to want to do, some goals, ambitions. What do you start daydreaming about? And then pursuing those will help that boredom. So maybe pushing through the boredom will help release some of us, our true self, maybe. Imagine what can emerge, what can come out. All right, today, remember that boredom has a purpose. Turning it off robs you and the world of something beautiful and important only you can offer. What are you depriving the world of? Something that, even if it's... There's a guy I follow on Instagram who kicked alcohol and he started writing poems. They're not the happiest poems, but they're really good. And I connected with some of those poems and made me think. So even pushing into your dark side, shadow work can give someone a glimpse of, I'm not alone. So giving that to the world is actually giving something that is bright. So what are we robbing? Even just the process of us being creative is robbing ourselves. Yeah. Allow the discomfort and see what happens. Then make a list of all the activities you'd like to try someday. A good old bucket list. Don't hold yourself back or put anything off limits. Want to go skydiving? Or drive a race car? Hot air ballooning? Soapbox derby? Heaps of things. Write a list. Want to quit your job and start your own business? Great. How about taking up ballroom dancing? Shipwreck diving. Have you been scuba diving? I've only done it once, and it was only to a certain point. I wasn't fully trained, so I could only go to this is the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. Don't know what I'm talking about. Google it. All the plants. I think that's where Nemo is hiding. Spend some creative energy making up a long, wild list. Like, if money and time are not restricting you, what would you do? Really? What would you really like to do? One thing I'd love to do is go be in a monastery for a while. Like that guy, Jay Shetty, I mentioned him, Think Like a Monk. He wrote a book called Think Like a Monk. Really enjoyed it. And he spent, I think, 1 or 2 years being a monk. And I think it'll be interesting. It'll be hard, but he gained a lot out of it. If you read the book, you'll know what I'm talking about, if you're interested. Then start thinking about which activity you want to do first. What activity do you want to do first? Go do it. Even if all you do is research it a little on the internet, it's a start. The imagination, getting knowledge. And I was watching a movie, the one that I watched right at the beginning, Your Name, with Japan. And I was in Japan, and it was great. And it also made me realize I've only seen the city. I haven't seen the country, and I think that will be a lot better and a lot more history. And Japan, I need to get back. Even if, yes, you have something amazing inside you that's just waiting to be created. Something. Boredom is your brain crying out for stimulation. You simply need a healthy kind of stimulation. An empowering kind. Empowering yourself and pushing into those happy feelings of what do I want to do, rather than stuff it, I'll just numb these feelings. Filling your bathtub up with these new emotions will cause the bad emotions to maybe come out of the bathtub and not be there anymore. Maybe, I don't know. Something I just thought. So reflections. Here we go again. Tim, this time. Tim says, I can relate to boredom. Boredom has always been with me, and I always answer with, hey, a beer sounds good. Or, let's get a little wine. Or, how about a cocktail? Like, the first response is to drink. I feel a lot of tension last night. I think due to my unanswered boredom. So he was bored. My wife was having her wine and I was drinking water, which was not a problem. The tension was coming from boredom. I didn't know it at the time, but it makes sense now. This is an excellent learning adventure. So me wanting a drink maybe is running away from that boredom. There is some discomfort, there is some pain, but seeing my old lifelong friend alcohol, that must be an alcohol drink, I don't know that one, being exposed for the backstabbing, toxic, miserable substance that he really is. That is refreshing, exciting, hopeful, and motivating. I can't wait to keep living this life. Realizing what's your drink of choice. Realizing that your drink is backstabbing. It is. Bryce, I found that alcohol was keeping me unfocused and scattered and afraid to tackle the things I want to do. Alcohol does stop me from doing things that I want to do. I am coming out of that fog. All I want now is to push myself in ways that I never have before. Alcohol for me was a lot about fear and lack of confidence. And this is starting to change. I feel great today. That's awesome, Bryce. And last one, Julian. Woke up this morning feeling euphoric. Whoa. Couldn't wait to start the day. I can't remember the last time I felt this good for more than a day at a time. There have been so many years of wine-filled evenings, leaving me exhausted and disappointed. I used to be a morning person, optimistic and energetic, but in the last few years I've become down, blue and lethargic, struggling to get through the dull day until 7 p.m. when I can have that first glass of whatever. I really think I lost myself in the blur. These days, last days in the experiment have been a revelation. I think the old me is on his way back. I think that is the main thing of this chapter. I think the old me is on the way back, sitting in the boredom and letting these creative daydream, wandering things come up. So therefore, we will dream and find out what we want to do, or rekindle stuff and emotions that we used to have. The old me is on his way back. Wow. Thanks for joining me again. In the comments, if you made it this far, write down what country you want to go to. Write a country down there. Even somewhere that you haven't been within your own city. Go to your tourist place and look at the brochures. I bet you there is somewhere in your own city that you haven't been. I've done this before with a friend of mine. We went on, we pretended to be tourists for the day, and we went on a guided tourist trail around Sydney. And we learnt some things and saw some places that we didn't even know about. Try that. Challenge you. Be a tourist in your own city. Go to the information tourist places and just do the tour. Or, you know what I'm saying. Find something, even in your own place. When I say place, I don't mean your house. At least get out of your house. Go down the street a little bit. Anyway, I'm rambling. Stop rambling, Paul. I will keep this video short. I won't be rambling for another 20 minutes to make it an hour. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Thanks for journeying with me. We got this, okay? You've got this. We've got this. Yeah.